Hello and welcome to Pockenrop. In this video I'm going to do a review of the brand new Ed Sheeran album Autumn Variations. I've been inspired to do it because I've seen some very wildly different press reviews of this album. I'm not a major Ed Sheeran fan. I will confess to being very fond of Divide and having some affection for quite a few of his other songs, and I think he's not as bad as some people take him to be, or as good as some people take him to be. So, like I said, this has been inspired by a few of the press reviews that I come across. So the first one this morning I saw was from The Guardian. Now, The Guardian described the album as flat and as dull as a grey sky and gave it a 2-star review. The next one that I saw was The Telegraph. And The Telegraph suggested that it was oddly stunning and that he was channeling Elgar with surprising result and gave it 5 stars. And this got me thinking, what have other media outlets given it as a review? So we have The Guardian giving it 2 stars, so do NME. Then we've got a bunch of press giving it 3 stars, so that's The Independent and The Eye, which are more or less the same paper, but they may well have different reviewers, but they've both given it 3 stars. And the Album of the Year website has also given it 3. Then we hit 4-star reviews from the Evening Standard, the Financial Times, the Metro, the Times, and the Daily Mail. And then we hit the Telegraph review of 5 stars. And I think this is really interesting because there's a clear transition from left-leaning newspapers to right-leaning newspapers on how much they seem to like this album. It's produced by Aaron Dessner, and it is so obviously produced by Aaron Dessner. This is almost feels to me like Ed Sheeran does Folklore by Taylor Swift. So Magical wasn't magical to me. As an opening track, it did not grab me at all. Things took a bit of an upswing with England and then an even more significant upswing with Amazing. Plastic Bag and Blue, not particularly impressed. American Town, however, was to this point the best thing I'd heard on the album. That's On Me was almost one downbeat, similar sounding vocal too many at that point. But then we get to side 2 of the record and Page. This is oddly rather lovely. And at this point here I was thinking this can only really be a 5 out of 10 album, but then Page kind of tips up a bit, and actually I started to think this is really quite a strong song. We then get Midnight, which you can't help thinking evokes Taylor Swift again. And then you get Spring. And if there's anything that saves this album from being the 2-star review that The Guardian gave it, it's Spring. Spring was a delightful song. We Won't Let Winter Win. I really felt that this was a song that could have been written in the pandemic, which ironically took place in spring. It felt Paul Simon-esque. The chord changes, the melody was intriguing and interesting. It went to places I wasn't expecting in the bridge. And Spring is the peach of the collection for me by some distance. It is a bit of a downhill trend after that. Punchline, When Will I Be All Right? All right. The Day I Was Born. And then we got Head Over Heels. And it's... The Guardian aren't correct. This isn't a 2-star album. That's harsh, mean, and I suspect built on their pandering to their readership who won't like Ed Sheeran. But the Telegraph aren't right either. This is not a 5-star album. This is not amongst... This isn't a patch on something like, say, The Ballad of Darren by Blur, which currently is probably my best album of the year. It's nowhere near that. But I don't think they're right with 4-star reviews in the Times and the Metro and so on. 3 isn't quite strong enough because I think Spring puts it in 6.5 out of 10 territory. It's between a 3 and a 4. I don't feel the need to necessarily own it. I'm quite happy listening to it on YouTube Music, and I recommend you do the same so you can make your own judgments. But there's one thing I do want to turn my attention to, and it's the lyrics, and more to the point, metre and scansion. So as a perfect example of this is Chainsmokers featuring Coldplay when they do something just like this. I've been reading books of old, the legends and the myths, Midas and his gold, Hercules and his fists. And it's the Hercules that I'm talking about here. The emphasis and the stress on the wrong syllable or word of a line. Sheeran does this in spades on this record. At least 5 tracks. I made some notes and kind of scribbled down where I felt that he'd done this. So the opening track, Magical, he talks about a line where it goes something, the open room. And he emphasises the word the in the wrong place. It's a passing word. It's not an emphasis word. In England, it's beware and on the wires. And in and of themselves, the way I'm saying that, it's not a problem. But when you hear it in the context of the sentence, it's jarring. We get another one in Amazing, into the unknown. Now, you'd say into the unknown. You know where you put the syllable when you speak. So why is it okay in a lyric in a song? And I don't think it is. I think it's lyrically shoddy songwriting. And for that reason, where I'd kind of originally got a 6.5, it's back down to a 6 again. Now, I know I'm not going to change Ed Sheeran haters' view with this video, and I'm not going to change Ed Sheeran lovers' view with this video. It's just my take on it. But I found it interesting. That range of 2 to 5 star reviews for the same album, and actually, they're both wrong. It's right there in the middle. So that concludes my short review of the new Ed Sheeran album. If you love it, fantastic. If you hate it, fantastic. If you haven't listened to it, then go and listen to it and make your own opinion. I'll be back with another video soon, but until then, thanks for watching.